If you don't have a team, you are a slave in your business. Here's what I mean. Over my entire career, I've come to realize that major companies, great organizations, the ones that operate globally and have the greatest impact, are the companies that have the best team. And you see this in major sports teams, whether it's the NFL, baseball, or even the NBA. General managers is what you become. You're always in recruiting mode. Everywhere you go, you're always looking to find someone who is better than the current members that you have on your team. Now, I highly challenge you to make sure you hire the best team members from the very beginning. But then you also want to make sure that you're challenging your team members to always be in a state of growth. Because as they continue to grow individually, your entire team will continue to grow collectively as a unit. Now, if you don't recruit the best talent, you're limiting your business. So don't be cheap. Don't go after somebody at an $8 an hour when you know you should pay someone $20 or $25 an hour. Find the best talent, because when you find the best talent bring you ideas, they bring suggestions. I mean, literally, I've got a real life story right here today. While we were getting ready to set up for this specific training, I've always wanted to be able to use Vera, who's our amazing Blackboard. I've always wanted to use her as a screen or as a camera input whenever I'm doing training videos. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but guess what? Our new team member, Jeff, he was like, hey, are you gonna use a board? You should probably connect the board so that whenever we get ready to do the training, I can switch it over and now the board shows up. Let's let Jeff show you what he just did. This is what I call the accountability triangle. And I'll put it over here. Accountability triangle. And the reason you want to have the accountability triangle, the very first thing on the accountability triangle is clarity. Now, because you're documenting your entire business inside of your project management software, that allows you to have more clarity, opposed to you having to try to remember to say the same thing over and over again with each team member that you bring on board. Having clarity is so important. So I remember when I was in the Air Force, and one of the things that they taught us is being clear on what our mission is. And in the military, there's this process or this line of thinking called hurry up and wait, meaning they tell us, be here by 0500, 5 o'clock in the morning for those of you who aren't military people. But they want you to be there by 5 a.m. But we're probably not gonna leave until 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, you're there early enough so that we can always do our checks and our balances and ensure that everyone is clear, number one, on what our objective is, number two, who's going to play what role, number three, when you're gonna take off or when you're gonna leave and start to execute on your mission, and even some contingencies, meaning things that we could not plan for or unexpected activities, what we're going to do when some of those unexpected things pop up. So with your accountability triangle, having clarity, this is what allows you to put your team in the best position to win. You have a responsibility to build the biggest business that you can possibly build. It is your objective to do that, because the greater and larger your business is, the more impact that you can make, the more lives that you can change, the more money that you can earn, and the more money and resources you can leave to your future generations. But it all begins with clarity. If you don't ensure that everyone on your team understands what the championship is, what it means when we're going to win this championship, and what their exact role is going to be in the process of us winning this championship, you're setting your team up to fail. Number two in your accountability triangle is just that, accountability. I know a lot of times, especially accountability. I probably still spelled it wrong, but you get what word I'm looking for. A lot of new leaders, especially if you had an amazing product or service and you got a ton of sales very fast and you didn't expect it, or you got a VC round or angel investment round of funding, or you just had a family member or mom or dad who passed away unfortunately and they left you a large sum of cash. Now you've got this business and you've got this team, but guess what? You've never led anyone before. And it's difficult to hold people accountable, number one, especially if you weren't held accountable growing up. Now, your accountability could have come from family members. It could have come from, if you went homeschool, I would say yes, but our education system is so terrible, so I doubt it if you got any accountability if you went to public schools here in America. But that's one of the reasons why I love the decision that I made to join the Air Force, because the Air Force forced me to be accountable. It forced me to show up on time. It forced me to wear the proper uniform. It forced me to learn my job. It forced me to be a great teammate to everyone else who was on the planet, not just in the Air Force. And if I didn't meet the standards and the expectations that were established by my supervisors, by my bosses, by my commanders, then guess what? They were then able to hold me accountable. But if you don't have your business documented in your project management software and you haven't clearly stated what the standards and the expectations are, it's impossible for you to hold anyone accountable. That's why it's so important when it comes to your team. You set the clear standards and expectations. So one of the things that we do here as a company is I always have an onboarding conversation with new members of our team. And in that onboarding conversation, it's documented. And I literally will share my screen, especially when we're in person, and we will literally go through that document line by line, and I ensure that the person says to me, yes, they understand what I just explained to them. And as we go through this entire document, there are spaces for them to initial their acknowledgement of specific things. So for example, one of the things that I have them initial is their understanding that they will be on camera or sometimes in photographs. And I have them initial that way they can never say, I didn't give consent to use my name, image, and likeness in any of your material. But at the very bottom of this new team member onboarding agreement, I always have them sign it and date it. And I also sign it and date it. This ensures that we are all clear, we have clarity on what our objectives are, what their roles and responsibilities are, what my role and responsibility is as the new leader, within their life and in their career, and then what they can expect if I don't do what I promised, or if they don't do what they ultimately promised. But I can't hold them accountable if I don't have it documented. Documentation is the name of the game. That is the difference between you having a business that is subpar or you building a business that can go on and do hundreds of millions of dollars and impact and change lives all over the globe. You have to document everything. Now, the third component of your accountability triangle is metrics. What gets measured gets done. I remember listening to Robert Kraft. He's the owner of the New England Patriots in the NFL. And he said that he measures 9 times before he makes a cut. Now, when I was growing up, I had an uncle who once said that you measure twice before cutting. And that just ensures that you don't make a mistake and then you have to go back and cut the wood all over again. But it was fascinating to me. Now, my uncle's not a billionaire by anybody's stretch of anybody's imagination. However, he said you only want to measure twice. The billionaire said you want to measure 9 times. This ensures that you have checked and you have checked and you have checked and you have rechecked and you have rechecked 9 times before you actually cut the wood. The same thing and type of thinking should apply when it comes to our metrics. We want to be able to measure, are we on course or are we off course? I was watching a training video one day, and the presenter in this training video was talking about how when a rocket is launched and it's on its course to the moon, it is off track 99% of the way of its journey to its destination. And those who are in the space station are constantly doing course corrections in order to get the rocket back on the correct line and correct course in order for it to get to its destination. And just when it's within about 6 feet of touching down on the ground, finally it's boom, right on its target. So now imagine that same way of thinking when it comes to your business. You are off course 99% of the time. And in your case, it might feel like you are building the plane as you're falling out of the sky. I totally get it. I understand it. I've been there. But what you want to do is you want to measure, are we on course or are we off course? And a lot of the ways that you do this, and this is how we do it here within our business. One thing that I do every single week is I have a weekly team meeting with our larger team. And I sit down and I have that weekly team meeting and I have everyone talk about what are your wins from the last week. And the reason why I want to know what their wins are is once I know what you're winning at and you're excited about the thing that you're winning at, that ensures for me that I put you in a position to continue to get you some more wins. My job as the leader of my team is to ensure that my team is constantly winning. And if they're constantly winning every day, every week, every month, every quarter, guess what? We're going to get some compound winning going. And now over the course of 12 months, imagine how many wins we got if we got a win every single day that we came in and went to work. Now, in addition to that, my director of operations, we have what we call a daily huddle. And in this daily huddle, we talk about the 3 wins that we had from yesterday, the day before, and the 3 things that we're going to focus on winning for today. And the reason why we do that is, 1, it allows us to make sure there's accountability. Because if you tell me that you were going to do something on yesterday, and now here I am on the very next day, and you're not able to tell me that you actually completed that particular task from yesterday, I can now hold you accountable. We were clear on what you were going to achieve. You told me whether or not you met the metrics or you achieved the goal or not. And if you did or didn't, I'm now able to hold you accountable. Now, here's something that I want to make sure you understand. The accountability triangle is not one direction. The accountability triangle goes in every direction. That means if it's a matter of accountability and I hold you accountable and you did achieve what we wanted to achieve, the cycle continues. If we have an issue to where accountability, I can't hold you accountable and it's because you say that you didn't understand something, then that means we have a lack of clarity. So we go back to clarity. All right, so you want to build out your accountability triangle in a way to where you ensure that there's constant clarity, there's constant accountability, and you're able to measure whether or not you are on course or off course. You don't have to build your business alone. You don't have to do it in isolation. That's what leads to being overworked, overwhelmed, and burned out. If you're struggling with building your business and you feel like you're a one-person show, or your current team isn't able to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve because you know you lack documentation, systems, and or processes, click the link down in the description. We would love to have a conversation with you about you becoming a member of the Prosperity Factory so that you can have more clarity, more accountability, and metrics to ensure that you achieve your goals. So click that link, schedule a call, and enroll today. We look forward to serving you. Peace.